Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this new episode of Sartorial Talks. Today, guess what? We are not in France, we are not even in the USA, we are in India. It's our first time with Sonia in India, and it's a wonderful city in which we are, which is called Bangalore, in the state of Karnataka. Did I say it well? Because I've been rehearsing the whole morning with Karnataka.
I think you have it.
Yes. How do you do, darling? What is your first impression of this incredible country?
Well, experiencing the rich culture firsthand has been really nice. Of course, the cuisine is quite nice.
We had a wonderful time already. We're here since 3 days, but the reason we came here is not to play the tourists. We have no time for that. It's because we were invited by a beautiful company called P N RAO. But we are here for a very special occasion. I would say once in a lifetime occasion for a company, which is?
Well, the 2023 makes the 100th anniversary of the company.
Yes. Can you believe that? 100 years, 3 generations of people have been working on this company that was founded by a gentleman called P N RAO. And so in 1923, so that's exactly 100 years ago. We love this idea of protecting a heritage, but also the transmission from generation to generation. These people are not only worth knowing, but you will discover a whole world that we didn't know. And we were quite surprised, to say the least, with what we've been witnessing in the factory, also with all our discussion with the family, that we are speaking here of real tailoring.
Yes, and of course, many of you know that when writing The Italian Gentleman, we saw many sartoria in Italy, and so we understood what a sartoria is. Mm-hmm. And so coming here in India, we were really curious to know if it was similar. Yes. And we saw a lot of similarities. And in this specific sartoria, we saw ready-to-wear, made-to-measure, and bespoke, all in one facility. So it was really nice to be able to see the operation of
And talking about the facility?
Yes, I know what you're going to say.
Well, I mean, we were quite surprised. They took us by storm or by surprise because we know that we were quite awaited for, and people were happy that we come here, but we couldn't expect such an incredible welcome.
The welcome was...
So, ladies and gentlemen, we invite you to deep dive in the rich history of this beautiful company called P N RAO in Bangalore, India, and let's start our journey now. I'm sitting with Naveen and Ketan Piche, who are the 3rd generation of this beautiful company called P N RAO. Why did you decide to celebrate this 100 years? Why all of a sudden say, we have to do something with that? Is it something which is close to your heart? Is it something which is normal in India to celebrate the ancestors? Or what was the idea? How did it come in your mind?
No, very, very good that you asked the question because, a couple of years ago when we knew we were reaching the century, we were close to the century.
Yes.
So, we realized that there are not many companies, especially in the bespoke tailoring business, yes, and especially in India, that have been doing this consistently over a period of 100 years. Many times there was in our community, the community that we are from, the Bhausha Kshatriyas, actually we are called the Darzi community, which means in Indian language, it means the tailor community, the person who does the tailoring. So this was the main occupation of this community. But we have seen that over a period of time, this trade, this profession has been actually dwindling.
And you mean that some family didn't take over?
Didn't take over.
Yeah.
So at one point of time, this community was doing this a lot for ladies as well as men's. But we have been told from other people around the community that us and our family, our business, has been actually been able to take it from generation to the generation and to the third generation now. And the company is reaching in its 100th year today.
Yeah.
So we said that the fact of this matter needs to be celebrated.
Of course.
And we need to document it as well, not just for the community, but for ourselves as well, and for the next generations to come. So we took up a list of things, and we sat down as a family. We meet very regularly every week. We have a certain time we meet, and we discuss whatever we need to do in the business.
Yes.
So we sat down and we put down a list of things that we want to do in the centennial year. And yeah, which is why we are doing whatever we are doing this.
So when you say your family, it means also your mothers has been participating to the gathering of the pictures, to the telling of the story. Everybody has been participating.
Absolutely, even my mother and Ketan's mother and the extended family, the cousins and our relatives.
I love that.
We've got wonderful pictures from everywhere. I think it was a good opportunity for us to get in touch with the larger family as well.
Oh, wow.
I
never thought about that.
Yeah, and celebration is part of our culture, Hugo. And until COVID, every year we would celebrate Diwali, which is a festival of lights in India, and where we'd invite the extended family to our home, and we would have a get-together and celebrate festival. So it's part of our culture. That's one of the reasons why we like to celebrate the 100 years.
Yes.
And like Ketan was mentioning, that we'd like to announce it to the world. We are proud of it that we are 100 years old. And we want to tell the people outside that it's possible that a tailoring business and other family businesses can grow for more than 3-4 generations.
That's excellent. May I add something to that? First of all, ladies and gentlemen, I have to share a secret with you. We were invited in the house of the family yesterday night, and we had the pleasure to meet the entire family, including the wives and even the fourth generation, the kids. And it's a wonderful feeling to have some people. We live in an age when the internet, everything is going so fast. Everything has to be immediate. Everything has to be, you understand that people have been losing something which is very important, is taking your time to sit down with your family, to browse some memory. This is the essence of life. And when we find this in our business of tailoring, this is the reason with Sonia we didn't hesitate to fly here to see you, despite the fact that we wanted to know India, but the fact that you were a family celebrating 100 years of transmission between generation to generation, for us, it speaks directly to our mind, but mainly to our heart. Because we also know that, as Sonia probably told you already, we are very linked to the tailoring business, of course, around the world, but specifically in Italy. And in Italy, it's the same as here. It's all about family. How did it start? It started with P N RAO, which is your grandfather.
Absolutely.
Explain just in a few sentences, who was he?
We have heard a lot of stories from our parents and about from the business perspective, how he was very strict with his. He's a strict person. He was a very strict person, but he was very disciplined. A lot of values was very important to him, which I think got imbibed by the second generation and then passed on to the third generation. And what we try to do in our business even today is so we have our own values of P N RAO. We have our mission statement, and all of these things we've tried to distill it together and bring it together and actually put it down as the company values, and which we still strive every day to make sure that we follow these values.
Yeah, which are very loyal to the way your grandfather was thinking and acting.
Absolutely.
I have another question. As far as I understand, I heard that your grandfather started literally on the roadside.
Yeah.
That is to say, when we speak about humble beginning, you can't be more humble than that. The idea that all this beautiful company that you have today started on the roadside, it's almost unbelievable. So can you tell us a little bit of this story?
Yeah, so my grandfather initially started working on the bylanes of Commercial Street and learned the trade there. And then because it was getting crowded, he moved out and came to the footpath of what today is known as Mahatma Gandhi Road.
Okay.
And those days it was called South Parade. And he he was on the footpath, and clients, ladies would come to him and give him orders, make him do some alterations and some new clothes as well.
Okay.
And while he was doing the business there, there was the owner of the entire MG Road, I mean that particular stretch was owned by the people of the Plaza Theatre.
Okay.
And he saw that my grandfather was so hardworking and built a clientele on the footpath. And he invited him to take his property on rent, which is the property where we are today.
Oh, wow.
And that was when my grandfather was 20 years old, 100 years ago.
It was one of the milestones, you can say, that, somebody takes you were saying, when you started this, you left everything that you had and then you went into this. So it's a big decision, like you were mentioning. Yeah. For him also, it would have been a very big decision at that time. Yes. Because we look at it now and say, oh, it's nothing. But when you look at it 100 years ago, it must have been a big leap for him.
He took a risk.
Yeah. He took a risk. Yeah.
And as far as I know, he was, at the beginning, he was selling some trimmings, some buttons, some really, this small equipment for the seamstress who are working at home. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. And then the first milestone is that when he moved from the roadside to, let's say, a brick and mortar shop. Now your grandfather went from the roadside to this little shop. And what's the next big milestone in the history?
Look, so the first thing that I must mention to you is that at this time, he was a ladies' tailor.
Okay.
So we are talking about P N RAO, the men's tailor today, but we have to remember that 100 years back, there was no menswear there. He was a ladies' tailor. Okay. And his main clientele was the British ladies. So the wives of the Britishers, the officers, because we live in the cantonment side, the cantonment is basically where the army, the British army, they used to have their station here. Okay. So we live on this side of the store was on this side of the city. Mm-hmm. So his main customer or clientele was the British ladies. Okay. So that's the main part that we need to talk about.
And I heard about these British ladies who were attending horse race, because this is very important in the UK. The horse race is something very big. Everybody's speaking, of course, we all have in head the Royal Ascot, which is the summit where all the ladies, they come with crazy hats. And they really dress as much as they can to this very date. But there's something that they don't like, is to wear the same dress twice. Back in the years, it was some kind of probably a mark of prestige. Right, that you will have to show a new dress each time. I have no idea what they will doing with the old dresses. Maybe they were reselling them.
Maybe wearing them to different occasions.
Yeah, maybe. They were not maybe photographed or whatever. It always came to my mind, what do they do with the old dresses? Because these people, but they were aristocrats, I suppose, yes. Okay. So your father was involved into that. Your grandfather was involved into this horse races. So he had to do the full outfit for the ladies?
Yeah, 16. They had 16 races in a season back then.
16.
Yeah. Wow. And the entire order taking process would start 2 months prior to that. Yes. And then he would deliver every week. Every Sunday would be the races. Wow. And they would get one dress every Sunday for 16 weeks.
But that's a big business.
Yeah, that was really big business, and he was really coped up with it, and the ladies were very happy. Yes. And post the dresses for the races, he got into making wedding gowns for women as well.
Wedding gowns?
Yeah, and that a lot of lace work and embroidery was involved, and he was really able to take care of that kind of clientele.
We can say he was a good businessman, right?
Yeah, I think he understood the circumstances around what made the business happen, and he pivoted and switched as and when he realized that things were going to change around him.
And how is the switch between ladies tailoring and menswear. What happened? How did you decide that?
So you understand, it's a very, it's actually very automatic, right?
Yes.
So the British were around, they were ruling the country, and then India got independence in 1947. So obviously many of the Britishers started to leave. Now suddenly he's looking and he's wondering, oh, my main clientele, which is the British ladies, are all going away. So he then moved from ladies tailoring to menswear tailoring.
Like that.
Yes, so he had to make that decision,
Yes.
right? And I think around that time,
Which kind of period
this
is it?
this is the 1940s,
40s.
right? Late 40s.
Yes.
In 1947 we got the independence, but around this time, so you can imagine this scenario here.
Yeah.
And my eldest uncle,
Who passed?
who passed
He's
away.
dead, yeah.
His name is P N RAO. So he, I think, was the person who was instrumental in learning the art of menswear tailoring and cutting. So he was a pattern master. So we called him.
And he was a cutter also?
Cutter.
Yeah.
He was a
Okay.
cutter. He used to personally cut. So
Yeah.
he learned. So I think my grandfather asked him to. He was studying, and then he was quite young, but he was asked to come in and help in the business. And so he went out and got trained in this, because of course, like I told you, the family and the general community that we are coming from was all part of this this tailoring community. And because he had help and him and some of his uncles and other people went and learned this art.
Okay.
And then they came and they started doing this business. So I think he was the pivotal person who kind of reined in the menswear business.
And at
so
that
to speak.
moment, when the British left the country, there was still some military that stayed in the country, because as far as I know, you also caught at the time something. It was quite an important business that you became an official supplier for the garrison.
Yeah,
Is that
the British
correct?
garrison
Is it
of
just after this period of time?
Just around this
around
period,
about
yes.
this period.
Okay.
Yeah.
What was it exactly? What was your role?
So
the role of
basically,
your grandfather. right?
basically they were looking for a vendor,
Yeah.
and at the same time the ladies were leaving India.
Yes.
So my grandfather realized that he needed to do something different.
Yes.
And he saw in the newspaper the advertisement said that we're looking for a vendor, and the appointment was at 6 a.m. in the morning. So, and those days, mind you, in Bangalore it was terribly cold and it had a lot of fog as well. And my grandfather literally had to walk it to this, it's not a long walk, it was a short walk, but through the fog, and be there on time about 10 minutes earlier than 6 a.m.
Yes.
And when the gates opened, he was the only one there. There was nobody else.
Incredible.
Yeah, and he went into the barracks. It's called the Bird Barracks.
Yes.
Named after Mr. Colonel or Brigadier Bird. Yeah. So he went into that there, and then the brigadier greeted him and gave him a cup of tea. And they started talking about the birds and the bees, but not about the contract.
Yeah.
So my grandfather was like, "Hey, Mr. Brigadier Bird, what are you doing? Why are you not telling me who the contract is going to?" He said, "Mr. Rao, the contract is yours. There's nobody else."
This is a crazy story.
And,
I like
and
that.
as he was walking out, which was about 15 minutes past 6,
Yeah.
he saw that there was a line of people outside the gate. And they were all waiting, thinking that they came in late for the appointment, but they were not allowed inside. And my grandfather got the contract just because he was on time.
Business is built, or traditionally built only on timing. You have to maintain your timing and your honesty. So if you tell the customer that you're going to deliver it tomorrow at 5 o'clock, you be at his residence at 4, 5. You must be ready for it. Today also we follow. We keep one day earlier. Clothes which we tailor, we tell the customer it is due on 25th. But we tell the masters here, do it at 24th.
So those same principles stayed with you?
Yeah, even today.
And your sons, you think?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's the discipline that was inculcated in us, and it's going down the line. It's in the blood. So it's been going on from one generation to the other, and we hope this will continue for years to come, for generations to come.
That's great.
Yeah.
Basically, for us, we believe that luck is where preparedness meets opportunity.
Exactly.
So if you are prepared, my grandfather was prepared. He knew that the ladies are going away and the business is not going to be something. So he knew that the British were punctual, that he had to be there before time, not on time.
Okay.
Before time, and that's he knew, he was aware about these things, and he was prepared, and he knew when the opportunity was there, he got the business.
So let me clarify that. So this was the garments for the garrison, whether they are military garments or they're civil garments.
No, it was basically a contract to supply anything, right from a needle up to mosquito nets, clothing, everything.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so you became a vendor for the garrison for anything they wanted to buy.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So it became
Concerning textiles and
yeah, of course. You don't deliver pizza,
Yeah.
of course. Yeah, that's not exactly the same thing. But I didn't understand that. So it's really, it became the supplier for the garrison. How much people were in the garrison? You have an idea? It was
I'm not
hundreds
sure.
or thousands?
No, but that was a big, it was a more than 4 or 5 acre property, and there were a lot of buildings inside. They also ran, many homes were there.
Yeah.
They also ran a small school at that point of time. And today the army school runs out of that premises. Yeah. So it was pretty much a large place. So,
So his business all of a sudden, after the ladies left the countries, the British ladies, he found quite immediately this, and it was even bigger than the races, right? It was something of a bigger contract.
Yeah.
Okay, now I want to understand, that's a beautiful story, but how was he able to supply? He was employing seamstress at home? How was it organized back in these years in India?
I think Naveen will be able to take that.
So he already had the premises, if you remember right. He took the premises in 1923.
Okay.
And then in 1947, he kind of renovated and make it, over a period of time, he improved the space. It was looking good. And behind the main shop was where the tailors would sit.
Okay.
And so he had space for enough number of tailors to get in there. And as far as the uniforms were concerned, those days the fabrics were again imported. And you would get khaki fabrics.
Of
and,
course.
My grandfather and my dad would tell me that one leg would be of one color and the other leg would be dyed of another color. Wow. Because it was, what do you call that, rationed. So you would not get any number of quantity that you wanted.
Supply was a crunch.
So supply was a crunch.
There was shortages.
Shortages. So that's why you got, it was rationed. So P N RAO would get only 1,000 meters or 500 meters. He couldn't take more than 1,000 meters or 500 meters.
Let's continue the saga. So he got this contract. He became the supplier of the garrison. So the business started to really expand. And what is the next milestone of the story of the family?
I think it is the introduction of ready-to-wear.
Yes.
Because back in the day it was there was no ready-to-wear.
Only tailoring.
Only tailoring.
Yeah.
And then there were brands that started coming up that started making ready-to-wear, mainly in the shirts and trousers. Mainly shirts was quite big. And I think around the time that my uncle and my dad came into the business, around that time is when they started selling ready-to-wear in the country. There were people who manufactured a ready shirt. So you can walk into a store and then look at a shirt and you say, oh, this is my size, and then buy it.
That was a revolution, right?
Yes, so that was a big deal. So the story goes, and as we've been told, that there was a lot of resistance to get into the ready-to-wear business. Resistance, because you understand.
Yes.
The ladies went away. We moved to menswear. Now tailoring is 100% of the business of menswear. And now somebody comes, a young boy, my uncle that time, a young person, he comes in and says, Dad, look, let's start selling ready-to-wear. What is the dad going to say? You're going crazy.
Yes, of course.
Yeah?
Yeah, of course.
Because now you have a business and then somebody starts selling ready-to-wear and then your tailoring business goes out of the window. So you understand. So obviously they would have had a situation at that point of time where they had to convince the father to go on and start keeping and buying, because I think there was also a problem of funds. That because you need to buy stock and keep it there, and then what happens if it doesn't sell, and so on and so forth.
And you have to finance an inventory, which was not the case with tailoring, of course.
So all of these problems was there, and I think that was a big turning point where there was introduction of ready-to-wear.
We're in the 60s, 70s, 60s?
I think this was in the late 50s, if I'm not mistaken.
Late 50s.
Yeah, but what is important is that I think they realized over a period of time, that the tailoring business didn't diminish.
Exactly. That's what I wanted to say.
And even till today, and we were in the store yesterday,
Yes.
you saw we have a whole floor for ready to wear, and we have another section for fabrics and tailoring.
Yes.
So it still coexists, and there are different segments of customers, as we saw yesterday again, that we cater to in our stores, and it continues till today.
Yes.
So we are very happy about that.
Fast forward now, we're in the, what happened, something, other milestone in the 70s, 80s, or it's just continued to develop
So
like that?
ready to wear from just shirts and trousers to suits and jackets.
Of course.
Much later, maybe in the 80s, with suits and jackets. Maybe jackets earlier, suits much later.
Yes.
And then we realized at a point of time that we wanted to consolidate our position as a suit player.
So the factory was, I'm sorry, I'm passionate about this factory. When did it start?
So we conceived the idea some way back in 2003 and 2004.
Okay.
So which is when we got the land, and then we took some time because there were some procedures that had to be involved with.
Because you built it.
We
It
built
was just a land.
Just a land, yes.
Okay.
So we involved the architect, and then we realized that we wanted a lot of natural light because we're a bespoke brand and we need natural light, and we realized that we needed natural ventilation. So we told this to our architect, and he created the design so that we can have a natural ventilation. Yeah. We have a lot of windows. And the design was such that we could make the trim section and the fabric section in on one side. Then we have the production, and then it comes back in the U shape to the finished product.
You know what it sounds in all this sounds to me? As if your grandfather would have been here at this moment when you decided to build the factory, he will have been as precise as you. That is to say, your precision in everything you do is probably a direct heritage from the spirit of your grandfather.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
And I think he would be proud of you, specifically because
I hope
this
so.
factory.
I hope he's looking down upon
I'm
us
pretty
and
sure he is,
saying, patting
but,
us in the back.
Yeah, but what was very impressive for us is how far you pushed with your factory in different areas of life and in different areas. For example, you produce your own energy.
Yes.
I mean, 100% of your
Absolutely.
own energy. How do you do that?
Well, I just want to go back a little bit in time, Hugo, because in good old days, when my grandfather, we had a large house, and we had a well at the back, and we would shrink the canvas there. And at a very young age, when the canvas was, there was a bucket of water which was out of the canvas, and I took the bucket and I threw it into the drain. Okay. And my grandfather held my ear. I'm not sure if it was the grandfather or my uncle, but he held my ear and he told me, "Why did you do that?"
What did you throw? The water?
Why did you throw the water into the drain?
Water, right?
It was bad water.
Dye,
It was for the canvas, remaining portion of the canvas, and it was a little smelly. So I threw it into the drain. And he said, "Why did you do that?" I said, "Well, it is dirty water, so I threw it in the drain." He said, "No, use it to water the plants." I'm saying, so that sustainability initiatives we were taught from a very young age.
Yeah, it's not like in modern day. Everybody is discovering sustainability all of a sudden, and they want to greenwash everything. But you are doing this since a long time. Your grandfather, it was his philosophy, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And my sister, Lena, she actually into the solar trade. She does a lot of work on energy conservation.
Okay.
So when we were talking together, she put me onto the very interesting concept of saying, why don't you use solar
Solar
for
power
your
system.
power system.
For your
And
factory.
For your factory. And obviously the genes kicked in, right
Yeah.
from my father, my grandfather, father, me, and I instantly jumped upon it.
Yes.
It cost us a lot of money,
Yes.
just around about the time that we were out of COVID.
Yeah.
But we said, we still
Of course.
should do that.
Yeah.
And we contacted a nice company who helped us through the process.
Yeah.
And we put up the solar plant, and we are now 100% energy
You autonomous
compliant.
and you don't pollute anybody. You just recycle everything. This is fabulous.
Yeah.
It was a bet for you. That was
Yes,
kind of
it was
a
a
risky
bet
bet
for us,
because
yeah,
there's a lot
yeah.
of money to invest to that.
Yeah.
But it works very well. I saw it. I mean, it's very impressive to have this. So for you to understand, ladies and gentlemen, 100% of the energy that is consumed in this factory is produced by these people.
Yes.
From the power solar system. So I must admit, this is very impressive for us. Because we were not awaited things like that, to see things like that in India, because even in France or in Italy, even around the world, I rarely see factories who are 100% powered by the solar system. So you are ahead of your time almost, and I'm sure it's not very common in India also. You're among the first to do that. Huh? Yes. That is very impressive. In terms of stores now, because you developed all that, and it ended up to that you started to open more stores from a single store. Yeah. You started to develop. So how many stores do you have today?
We have 7 stores in all.
Yeah.
We have 5 stores in Bangalore
Yeah.
and 2 stores in Chennai. Chennai is another city close to Bangalore.
We're going to show it on the map. This is a straight line, right?
Yes, yes.
Is it on the seaside?
It's on the
Chennai?
coast, yes.
Okay, the eastern coast of India.
Yes, the
Okay.
eastern coast of India. You're right, it's almost a straight line
Yes.
from Bangalore to Chennai.
You know what I learned this? I learned this in the plane. when we landed in Bengaluru, it was the animation on the plane, and I
Yeah,
saw
yeah.
Chennai, and I said to Chennai, they have stores here.
In Chennai.
Okay, so you develop already 7 stores,
Yeah.
and all the stores are organized the same way. That is to say, a floor for ready-to-wear and another floor for tailoring. Explain to us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, because we have different types of customers available coming into the stores for different requirements,
Yes.
we also mentioned that we have ready-to-wear and tailoring both in the same space. So we have our ready-to-wear section.
Mm-hmm.
We also do a small made-to-measure section where we have different type of merchandise for a certain type of ceremonial customer, which is more Indian in nature.
Okay.
And
You
then,
mean ethnic clothing? We can say that.
some maybe ethnic or maybe designer, ceremonial.
Designers,
Yes,
okay, I understand.
designer ceremonial clothing. So this kind of section, and then we also have the fabrics and the tailoring section.
If I understand here, we have the definition of bespoke tailoring. That is to say, a unique pattern for a unique client based on his measurements
Yes.
Yeah, and anatomy.
and on anatomy. Okay.
And of course, the pattern is cut specifically to him. It's not a standard block
Like-
based on
like
which,
in MTM.
like an MTM.
Yes.
So it's the pattern which is based on the 100% measurements,
Yes.
and then a special pattern is striked off for that customer.
So here, thank God, they are giving people inspiration, as you can see.
Yeah, we have.
And you can show everything here. I'm going to show you here.
So we have bandgala, then we have a single button, double breast, a stylized bandgala, a tuxedo,
Continue.
a jacket with some embroidery on. So it's a different type of blue jacket, and then you have some basic suits as well, and then some interesting things
Oh, this is more
Did you see that?
casual. Yeah, it's like
more casual.
It's like an overshirt.
with patch. Yes, like a inspiration from a safari.
Yeah.
But with different colors and patches. So if you see this way, we are able to cater to a wide range of customers.
Talking back to the ethnic garments, I must say, I'm a little bit obsessed with that since I came here. Look at my outfit. I couldn't visit P N RAO in Bangalore without trying what you call an ethnic
You're
garment.
looking great.
How do you call this one?
It's called an achkan.
Achkan.
Achkan,
Yeah.
yes.
So your father told me it was not for Maharaja, it was more for fighters, right?
Warriors,
For
yes.
warriors.
But yes, that's true. It's worn as a ceremonial garment in the olden times with the kings and the warriors and those kind of people who wore this kind of things.
Yeah.
Of course, we've taken inspiration from that, and this is wonderful jacquard fabric. So
people here, they use this mainly for ceremonies, right?
Ceremony,
This is
yeah.
a ceremony
Ceremony,
garment.
yeah.
You don't walk in the street like that.
No. It's just a ceremony
You
garment.
can.
You
but it's not
could
really-
wear everything, but it's not. It's typically known for a ceremonial wear.
Okay.
Band gala
Yeah.
is typically what it means as a translation is a closed neck.
Okay.
Band gala. So it's a gala is neck, band is closed, so closed neck. So it's a closed neck jacket, pretty much like what
You are wearing. This is a Bangala.
This is a bangala,
Yeah.
but this is a stylized bangala. Of course, it has different type of pockets. It has epaulets and so on.
It's beautiful and very chic. May I say that I prefer
very
mine?
nice. Yeah, of course, you like yours better. But
Well,
see,
because it's pure silk,
Yes,
mine.
yours is pure silk. It's made out of very nice fabric, and it's got a wonderful design on it. And then, of course, you've paired it with nice.
This
nice
is the
trousers.
first time I got these Jodhpur trousers.
Jodhpuri trousers.
This is Jodhpur with big thighs and very narrow ankles. So this is very, but it's very elegant. And when I look at this, I like the formality of it. You know, it's like because we live in a world where everybody's like very loose. You know, everybody's wearing T-shirts and sneakers and whatever. And when you put this on, all of a sudden, even your torso.
Form.
Yeah, you have to reason. So it was just a little bit of digression on that, but I'm very passionate, and I'm going to probably do a few more of that because I really love this style. So here we are visiting the P N RAO factory. We are in Bangalore, India, and I have the pleasure to be with my friend Pierre. He's working here since 55 years, is that correct? Yes. 55 years. So this guy is the master cutter here in this factory, and is training other people about his craft. So it's a pleasure, my friend, to meet you, because it's our first time in India, and I know you're a very important person in this factory. This is a training center for people who want to learn the trade at P N RAO. You're doing this since a long time for people who want to become a tailor, want to become a worker. Explain to us.
So basically what we want to train them how to be an apprentice first.
Okay.
So we start training them how to do all the hand basting and hand stitching and all of that.
Yeah.
So that then they can go on to become an apprentice along with a full-fledged artisan.
Yes.
And then they work with him for a year or two.
Yes.
And then they become tailors themselves.
How do you select them?
So basically on the line we see whoever got a good grasp to catch on.
Yes.
And then we bring them on to this sewing. Welcome to our pattern room. This is where all the pattern happens. We make patterns for clients who want bespoke garments, individual patterns for bespoke customers, and we also have made to measure size-wise block patterns here, and we have patterns for different designs. For example, a tuxedo size 40 is different from a single-breasted size 40, which is different from a double-breasted size 40, which is different from a three-piece size 40. So for each of them, we have to have separate patterns.
Here we have the full range of what you do. We have patterns for trousers, we have patterns for jacket, and also for shirts, right?
Yes, absolutely. We have patterns for everything.
So you're getting a nice roll there.
You're getting a nice, you get the roll. See, the heart of the
Yes.
jacket is in the lapel. And if you get a nice roll here, you're like, you must be really happy with the jacket. And that's why we came up with the idea of full canvas. And we realized that a lot of people around the world are actually doing the half canvas as an option.
Nice.
Yeah, so we do the full canvas. So for the guys who want it little quick and we just one trial or so, the half canvas works for you. It doesn't cost you an arm and leg, but it actually gives you the roll of the lapel. And you also get all of the hand basting that is required. You get the darts that's required for shape. And as you can see, there's a lot more shape in this garment when you roll it over.
All done by hand.
All done by hand.
So, 100 years, 3 generations, one beautiful factory, 7 stores. If you live in India, if you are looking for quality, ready to wear, or if you have the means to go to MTM, or even better, to bespoke tailoring, remember this name, P N RAO in Bangalore, in Chennai, and maybe someday somewhere else, God knows, only for the moment. But so this is really a brand that we recommend to you if you are living in India. Of course, if you travel to India for your vacation, or you want to see beautiful Indian, for example, me, I'm totally crazy with the ethnic garments from India. But even if you just want to have a jacket or a ceremony jacket, if you are traveling, they can provide very fast service, these people. Why? Because they have the immense advantage to have their production tools is theirs. They don't subcontract, they can really monitor everything. On top of that, they have a master tailor who is training people, so they are very, very precise on everything they do. And of course, it is very, how to say that, for us it's a discovery, I must be honest with you. We were not expecting that level of care. Of course, for us as guests, because we experienced the hospitality of India. We didn't imagine this, and we learned a lot already from this enormous country, of course. But also, the way you are treating your employees is probably what I will take away. It's the most impressive to me, because it speaks to my heart. The way you care for people says tons about who you are, and says tons about who your family is, and says millions or so about how it's good to do business with you as a customer, because you can be sure, ladies and gentlemen, that with these gentlemen and their fathers and the whole family, you're going to be well treated. This was our first show in India. Maybe it's not our last show in India, time will tell, but it was a wonderful opportunity for us to meet you.
Thank you so much for saying that, because it means a lot. Yeah.
Yes, and well, if you invite us again for another project, we will come back with a lot of pleasure. And I can't finish this episode without showing you a wonderful book, because these gentlemen, they went the extra mile, and they did a beautiful coffee table book, and I love the title, and we're going to leave you with this beautiful title, A Saga of Needle and Thread. This is the story of this wonderful family. Thank you, Naveen.
Yeah. Hugo, I want to take this opportunity to thank you for being here with us, for accepting our invitation.
Yes.
It was such a pleasure to have you and do the Sartorial Talks. It means a lot of us. You honored us. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you very
and
much.
Sonia
And
as
you
well.
and Sonia, thank you so much for being here.
Yes.
Pleasure to have you.
Yes, yes, yes. We'll be back, ladies and
Yes,
gentlemen.
yes.
We'll be back. You're
We're
not
gonna
going
hold
to
you
get
now.
rid of us like that, because this is what we do in life. When we discover people that we love, we're going to try to support you. We want to do our best so that people from India understand that with this company, you can really be safe in what you do. But not only that, I love, and I will leave you with that message, it's not about tailoring only. It's about creating relationships. See you soon, my friends. Bye-bye.